I'm ready.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next section of the Roll Plus Bond charity event that is taking place over 72 hours in support of a wonderful cause, Black and Pink, which is a national prison abolitionist organization dedicated to abolishing the criminal punishment system and liberating LGBTQIA2S plus people and people living with HIV and AIDS who are affected by that system through advocacy, support, and organizing. If you want to donate, please go to tiltify.com/@rollplusbond. I'm sure there's going to be a link in the Twitch chat very shortly. So yeah, that's why we are here today. And just so everyone knows, I am your host and GM for this chunk of the stream, Austin Ramsay. My pronouns are he and him, and I will be GMing this possible multi-car pile-up. I am joined by ARP. ARP, if you could introduce yourself.
Hey there, I'm ARP. My pronouns are he or they. Should I introduce my character as well, or just myself?
Absolutely. Just the name and playbook, and we'll get over looks once we get into play.
Okay. I'm playing today from the unceded territory of the Katzie, Coquitlam, Stalo, Kwalans, Dominus, and Musqueam people, as well as the treaty land of the Tawasan First Nation. And I am playing Lou Paloma Tennant, a former police detective who was the officer playbook, and what happened to them. Pronouns are he, they as well. They got a little bit too close to arresting too many rich people and ended up being framed for stealing all of the profits from the police department's official NFT collection and spent a while rotting away in prison, secretly plotting their revenge on the very system they once served.
Wonderful. Yeah. You got something more?
No.
Okay.
Not at the moment.
All right. Next up, Vivien, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Vivien. My pronouns are she and her. I'm going to be playing Barbara Joni Mayweather, who is one of these aforementioned rich people, who is a former landowner, former English landowner who has come to America as she has lost all of her land and is decided to give it a go. And she is the tuner playbook because she spent a lot of time playing with Land Rovers as a little girl.
Great. Okay, and Fool, how about you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Anthony, or Full Link on the internets. I am playing the playbook The Rookie, and his name is Clarence Jackson Langmore, aka CJ, our trust fund, and I feel like the call sign is pretty much what you need to know. He is a very young student who comes from a well-off family. For right now, I think that's it.
Great, thank you very much. And last but not least, C.
Hey, I'm C online, but I go by Chris. Pronouns are he, him. I will be playing the hero playbook. My character is Lorenzo, was by Zoe O'Shaughnessy, Irish Italian American union organizer from Indiana. Former demolition derby player, so pretty popular guy.
Great. All right, so that is everyone introduced. And so here's the deal. The four of you know each other a little bit from around the driving scene in the States. You know, maybe you've raced against each other at some point. Maybe some of you have done some work together, whether legal or otherwise. So you have a bit of an idea of who each other are. But, you haven't really worked together like any big things together before. So it's a bit odd that you find yourselves all sitting down at the same table at a Starbucks in Reno, Nevada. So who thinks they got here first?
I know it wasn't trust fund.
I was actually
Yeah.
going to say,
Go
if it wasn't for trust fund, I would think that Lorenzo would be last.
I think Paloma has been here for off and on a couple of days before the set meeting time, just to check things out and put things in place. So Paloma is, I guess, the first one here then, sitting in a booth. Is there a booth here?
Yeah, it's actually, there is a specific booth that you have all been directed to, which is how you all know that you're supposed to be here. And you weren't in contact with each other beforehand. So what's Paloma look like as they're sitting in this Starbucks booth?
Oh, let's see. I wrote this down, didn't I? All right. So Paloma is short, pale-skinned, stocky, unkempt hair and stubble. Hair's cut pretty short, but it's clear that the extent of Paloma's morning routine is maybe rubbing some water through it. They're at the tail end of middle age. They have tired but warm eyes and a perpetual squint. They're wearing a green trench coat. It's kind of rumpled, and if you were to stand up, you would see on the back a sort of stylized Art Deco style pigeon design on the back with wings extending down the back of the arms of the jacket. And they're just sitting in the booth, I think leaning back a little bit with a little tablet open in front of them. They seem to be reading something over a pair of reading glasses.
Okay. All right. Since Zoe and CJ have claimed last for showing up, I'm going to guess that Behemoth is probably the second one to arrive. Vivien, do you think that's accurate?
I think that sounds about right. She's vaguely on time.
So what's she look like as she sits down at the same booth as Paloma?
Well, I think, first of all, you very obviously noticed the sort of enormous Hummer coming in the parking lot. And she sort of swings down, sort of basically jumps out of the car bit. I don't know about cars.
Driver's seat?
Driver's
Cab?
seat.
Is it a cab on a Hummer?
It's maybe big enough. Let's continue, sorry.
My face cast for Barbara is Emma Thompson, specifically around the sort of Love Actually era. And her look that I've got is just sort of fairly plain makeup, sort of regular, not a tan, but pearl studs, a sort of like nicely put together hair that's messy after a lot of stuff, big denim boiler suit, and a lot of big rings. And just sort of wanders in and is like, oh my god, this is just classic. And sort of wanders in and sort of like muttering to herself, being like, oh, this is so nice. And then just sort of wanders in and hops down to the booth and is like, oh, hi, it's you. So lovely to meet you. Barbara.
Paloma puts the tablet down and straightens up a bit, looks up at Barbara, and following that introduction says, actually, I go by Paloma, but it's a pleasure to meet you all the same. You're a Behemoth, right?
That would be me. That would be they call me, the one in Rome out there.
Paloma glances out the window at the giant Hummer and nods slowly. Well, have a seat. I think we're still waiting for a few more.
Oh, lovely. You've got coffee? I'm buying.
Oh, yeah, I can't have too much caffeine these days. Wreaks havoc on my digestion, but I appreciate the offer. Just fine with this iced water.
Oh, what? You sure know how to have fun in America, don't you? Anyway, good to meet you, And she wanders off, gets a coffee. It's the vibe. Key was a word.
Yeah.
All right. So I think Red Rover, you're showing up now. So what do you look like as you come in?
And kind of, like, screeches into a spot like without like proper slowing down to enter the parking lot. There's a what used to be a police car from Victoria that has been at the face, and then that paint has also been basically chipped and rusted. I have him face cast as John Leguizamo. Super young, but not as old as he is now, so I would say like 30s.
Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Better than that. I think he was pretty young in that still.
Yeah, I
No, he's kind of ageless in a way. Coming through, I have like work, and then just a tank top, and then like a up that's open. But, maybe he comes in, kind of strolls on over, like as like before sitting down, says, "Oh, okay."
I'm sorry, I did not hear that last part.
Take a seat here."
Paloma nods and gestures. We got one more has already arrived, and I guess you can grab either seat you want, or however you want to sit. And we got one more to go.
I'm assuming Paloma and BMF aren't sitting in the same spot.
No, I don't think so.
Probably sit next to. I'm assuming it's a 4-person.
Yeah, so it's probably. I don't know. Is Barbara back yet from getting her coffee?
Yeah, and if you've been late, then I'll be sort of there. I mean, I've definitely ran into Lorenzo before, and so I've just sort of been like, oh, well, how about you? Fancy seeing you again. Barbara, beat him off if you remember me.
Yes, I remember. Job. Twin Oaks.
Quite a drive. Quite the drive.
All right. And I think now is about when Trust Fund arrives.
Yeah, he walks in with just messy brown hair kind of all over the place. Somewhat skinny, though realistically you wouldn't really be able to tell because he's currently wearing tech wear. So kind of that stylish hoodie, dark gray with like slight accented striping with like that highlighter yellow. He's currently listening to music which nobody can hear since, of course, he has the latest over-the-ear noise-canceling headphones. Just kind of shuffles in, eating like a single serving bag of chips, and kind of just, without really like paying any attention, kind of just sits in, takes off his earphones or headphones, and just, sup? Am I late?
Well, I had a feeling, so I scheduled the meeting for about an hour earlier than I actually wanted to start, so you're just on time. Have a seat.
So, Paloma, You being the clearly organized one would have been contacted by the person who's arranged this job for the four of you. And it's someone that each of you have like heard of before, but haven't actually worked closely with. Her name is Greta, and she's a whip-thin mixed woman in her 20s. She's known as a member of the Green Guardians, which is a eco warriors type group, and you know her specifically as a bit of an anarchist and an anti-capitalist. And when I say a bit of, I mean like radical. You know, she hasn't bombed anything to your knowledge, but you wouldn't be surprised if you found out that was something she had done in the past. And so she instructed you, Paloma, to bring somewhat of an odd item. She wanted you to bring a paper bag, the kind that you get at like a bookstore or some retail stores, and an external hard drive inside of it. And I'm guessing that you probably brought that, being the organized officer you are.
Yeah. So I think, were there instructions beyond that, or is it just bring this bag with the hard drive in it?
It was just to bring it.
Okay.
And
yeah, so, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, please continue.
So once you're all seated after trust fund arrives, you hear a voice from behind you, Paloma. Who's sitting next to Paloma? I think it sounded like trust fund was across from them.
Sitting next to Paloma.
Sorry, did you? Who's sitting next to Paloma?
Zoe. I think I was sitting next to Paloma.
Okay. So, yeah. So behind Paloma and Zoe, you hear a familiar voice. It's Greta. She's clearly sitting in the booth behind you, and she says, "Don't turn around. Just keep enjoying your conversation and your drinks. Okay? Just lift and take a sip if you understand."
Yeah, Paloma takes a sip, waggles the cup slightly as he does.
So Trust Fund and Behemoth sitting across from Paloma, you can see just sort of like the top of Greta's head. You know, she's got her hair up in a pair of curly pom-poms, and you realize that she is observing the four of you through the reflections in like the glass cabinet selling the like pre-ground coffee and stuff. And she says, "Okay, here's the job. In 3 days, there's going to be an illegal race from Reno to Detroit. I need at least one of you to win the race. The reason being is that the winner will get to meet in person Wilhelm Fesk. They're a philanthropist, a business tycoon, a car enthusiast, and most importantly, they're a mob boss in Detroit's criminal underground." Now, that's a lot of irons in the fire they've got going. And one of those irons is a deal with Enterax. Enterax has made a real big splash in the electronic vehicles market the last couple of years. That's part of the reason that we're here in Reno. It's because they've got you might say, a gigafactory outside of it, building their cars, their auto cars, as they like to call them. And, well, they're hoping to open a factory in Detroit. Green Guardians, we're not a fan of that. We're going to do whatever we can to put a stop to it. But unfortunately, we don't really have connections in Detroit. Nor do we have the kind of muscle necessary to go up against Enterax. Fesk, however, Fesk does have that kind of muscle. You see, they're also planned to be helping Enterax put up their gigafactory in Detroit. So, it would come as an incredible shock to them if they were to learn that Enterax has been planning to throw them under the bus as soon as Fesk uses their connections to get the permits and funding through the city council in Detroit. Now, it might just happen that I have an encrypted hard drive in a paper bag on the floor. And Paloma and Zoe, you can hear something like scrape across the bottom of the floor under the seat between the two of you. And Greta continues. And it just so happens that it needs to get to Detroit into Fesk's hands. Say, being handed to them via the winner of a certain race that they've sponsored.
I get you.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I'll be taking that bag that you brought, by the way. I know that I'm being followed, and we gotta keep them on their toes before Enterax's goons try anything funny. This'll buy you some time before the race starts.
Under the booth table, since the paper bag has been slid underneath it, Paloma looked down to see the pattern of wrinkles on it and has been wrinkling the bag in his hands to match them before sliding it back over.
Great. Now, I can't stay too long, but if you have any questions and I'm able to answer them, I'll provide what information I can. Just keep it subtle, okay?
Who's got questions?
Does anyone have questions? If not, that's okay.
It's less that we have. I have a question, but I was like, oh, if we're trying to be like not talking to each other, I'm trying to think of the easiest way to actually like what
So
in character.
negotiated pay ahead of time too, right?
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so I guess the question which trust fund would want to know is if there were any, like, who's the racers to beat, right? Who are the top dogs that are going to be in our way? But I don't know. Maybe that's on like a dossier or something, as opposed to the kid like asking across the table, who's who we got to beat in this race? Like that's.
Well,
if that's something that your character would do in the middle
No,
of
he
this
wouldn't.
meeting,
No.
I mean, you are playing the rookie, right? So if you want to make some fool mistakes.
Well, that would be to my handle's name too. Yeah, you know what? I think he's trying to be sly, so he turns his head to the side as if he was asking Behemoth, and is like, who's gonna be there? Who's the top people to beat? And then taps his forehead like he asked his question subtly, which he did not.
Behemoth winces slightly and being like, oh, honey. And just sort of like, shh. Be subtle. Sort of
Greta says, I haven't been able to dig up too much information on the participants of the race. I've been a bit busy avoiding the goons, but I did catch word that Richard Ruinous is going to be competing. And you all know that you've heard the name of Richard Ruinous before. I don't know if anyone has actually raced against him yet, but part of the reason you know of him is because he's got a reputation. Ruinous is legally his last name, but it was definitely an ill-mannered nickname given to him by the people he would compete against. He's a slime ball and never plays fair when he races. But I don't think that you have too much more on him at the moment.
All right. I think Paloma will, after taking a moment to draw a hand down their face, lean back slightly, hands on the desk. Do we have any other vectors in play?
No. That's the hard drive that I just slid you is the only copy of the data that we have. Now, one of you will need to win, and you have to make sure that whoever's carrying that doesn't need to be the winner, but they need to be able to at least hand this off to the winner.
All right. Paloma looks around the table and nods.
Nods and takes a drink.
Nods.
Nods and
Sips
sorry.
very loudly.
Nods and put on his headphones.
Okay. All right. That sounds like everyone's asked their questions. So Greta says, okay. I'll be going now. If everything goes well, you'll hear from me in a couple of weeks, well after the race. So I hope to hear from you, hope to talk to you then. And she gets up, picks up the paper bag that you slid her, and walks out of the Starbucks, gets on a bicycle, and starts to ride away. And you can quite clearly make out a all black GM Suburban that's clearly tailing her.
Any identifying marks on that we could maybe note?
Let's see, what do you want to roll for that?
Well, it sounds like it might be probably a survey. I feel like I almost wanted to say study, but I don't know if there's time to do that with
Probably
the car
not.
driving
I
away.
think survey is the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get the first roll. This will just be a fortune roll. No worried about position or effect for this one.
Okay. A 4 there.
All right. So, as the GM Suburban is driving away, there are two things that you notice about it. One is that it is sitting a bit low in the suspension for the vehicle. This, probably indicates that either it's got a heavy cargo in the trunk or it's potentially armored. The second thing you notice is that as it's driving away, on the license plate, you spot a sticker that clearly marks it as property of Enterax.
Well, that's handy to know.
Mm-hmm. So, it is 3 days until the race starts. Are there any other gathering information tasks that anyone wants to do? Actually, before we start that, let's get everyone's connections with each other now that we've had a scene with everyone in the same room. So why don't we start with Paloma's beliefs about the other drivers?
Sure thing. Let me just scroll down here. Okay. With Trust Fund, I have a belief says the kid treats my life like it's a vacation. Maybe he'll learn something while he's here. For Behemoth, I said the rich will always back the rich, and that makes them predictable. I can work with that. And for Red Rover, I have can't trust anyone in a cop car. The louder he barks about solidarity, the less I believe he can do anything about it. And my bonus belief, Zoe needs some support to get a real movement going, but he could make a big splash.
Nice. All right, Zoe, why don't you give us your beliefs?
All right. Let's see. So I actually have kind of contradictory ones for Lou. They've been wrong by those I stand against. I will help them get back. So once a cop, always a cop. I will ditch them as soon as I can. But I can show them how the real world works.
Sorry, that the first part of that you might cut out, so we didn't get the first part of that. Who is that for?
That's for trust funds. So like, is a kid, but I can show them how the real world works.
Okay, and for Behemoth?
Behemoth is one second. I believe in my cause, but I will convince her of it. We talked about this in chat, and it's like more so worker solidarity, but not like a crazy revolutionary, pretty road politically.
All right.
Indiana.
Okay, let's get trust funds beliefs.
Okay. For Zoe, it's I feel like he looks down on me. I'll show him what I'm made of. For Behemoth, it's she reminds me of my mother. Not sure if that's a good thing. And then for Paloma, I have 2 of them. 1, Lou's taken interest in me. Is it because of me or because of my family? Lou has followed up his words with actions, but I don't know if those actions will lead to a net positive.
Great. And let's get Behemoth's beliefs.
I got one for Paloma, which is when we had pigeons roosting in one of the barns, I shot 20 of them in one day. For Trust Fund, I always had a soft spot for the nouveau riche. It seems he's mostly soft spots. And then for Red Rover, I have 2. The first one is, while I appreciate a bit of braggadocio, the death wish is a bit much. But also, perhaps one of these 3 I'd most trust to help me out in a foxhole.
All right, so there's a bit of uncertainty among this group who are working together for the first time with this rather major task.
Oh, and just to correct myself, I believe I actually had a typo in mine. It's Paloma who I have 1, which is he looks down on me, and then for Lorenzo, it's. Oh wait, did I? Yeah, I meant to have Lorenzo as the person who has followed his actions with like words with actions, as he's the person who is the class solidarity was the background. So I will make sure that's updated.
Oh, yeah. It says Lou and then Paloma up at the top of that one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so who has some things that they want to look into before the big race, which will cover 7 states, 2,180 miles, and under normal driving conditions takes 31 hours.
Hmm.
Mm,
Go ahead.
The route, obviously.
Okay.
I was going to say the same.
All right. So I will give you the sort of like greater details of this race. There is no route. There is no predetermined route. You just have to get from Reno to Detroit as fast as you can in an automobile.
Oh, so that's what I mean is I'm like gonna try to plan a route,
Oh, okay. Yes.
have the advantage.
All right. So, how are you going to try and plan this route? Looking over maps? What?
Probably looking over maps and then making some calls to people I know in other cities and just saying what the like ways around town are.
Okay. What do you want to roll for that?
I think could be less effect, but I only have hunt, which might apply.
I mean, if you want to lean on calling in, like calling other folks, you could lean on consort if you'd prefer, as opposed
Okay,
to studying
well-
maps.
Probably, yeah. I think the maps is pretty straightforward. So yeah, I'd lean to calling people I know, like in other states, and just kind of seeing what the best like ways around are.
Okay, give me a consort roll. Okay,
Right,
so
4.
4. All right. So, let's see. What are the kinds of people that you're calling? You said they're in other cities and other states, but what type of people are they?
Say there's people I met through. I decided that specifically that my character was in a car painting union. Other like people he's organized with in the past, like in a kind of interstate, like so maybe people have seen me and met at like conventions. At
Okay. So, what you learn is that between Reno and Detroit, there are a couple of ferry crossings. Now, those are of dubious use most of the time, but should there be any sort of major disruption to the interstates, or whether that's like a major traffic jam or an accident or road closures for whatever reason, they could be a good way around that other folks might not know. Unfortunately, they're all sort of in the last third of the race. You know, there's one on the border between Missouri and Illinois. There's one on the border between Wisconsin and Iowa, and then there's 2 that go from Wisconsin to Michigan, and there's one inside of Wisconsin itself. But also the obvious route, there is an interstate that goes almost all the way right from Reno to Detroit. It goes from Reno to Toledo, and then you can hop north from there. So, who else has a idea of where they might want to go next or ask questions next?
I have a thought. I would like to get information on our competitors, and I think I'm going to do that by going and being persuasive with. I want to work my way up, basically, find someone who knows what this is within the organization, like find someone who'd have that list and lean on them to see if I can get access to the information about who we'll be racing against.
Okay. So you're looking to lean on somebody for the race roster. All right.
Yeah.
What do you want to roll for that?
I'm thinking command, because I think Paloma has a reputation in the underworld, and I think they are fairly judicious in how they use that. But when they do use it, it's the types of people he would be using that type of, I guess, threatening attitude on would know that it's if he's doing this, then he will follow through. So I think he's leaning on that reputation and working his way up through the ranks to find the person he needs.
Okay. So give me that command roll.
Okay. Got a 6 there.
That's a 6. Okay. So, here is a question. Do you want like the general group of the racers, or do you want to get specific information about like one particular racer? Like, do you want surface info for all of them, or just one of them?
I think I want the roster. Like, I think I want to know who it is, like who is everyone who's involved, and yeah, I think Paloma would want that as the starting point, like just in case there's any wild cards or anything that he or the organizers might not consider to be significant, but who Paloma might know is more of a big deal.
Okay. So, in that case, you get there is going to be 32 participants in this race, but there are really only 4 of note. The first is the aforementioned Richard Ruinous, who you already got
the rundown.
Yeah. The next up is the Gray Team, who are what would you know about them? I actually think that you are ex-cop. I would say that you know that they have some kind of connection with either the law enforcement or military, but I don't think that you've heard more than that about them.
All right.
Next up is Tommy Doretto. She's a well-known racer across the nation for illegal street races. Generally drives a Dodge Challenger.
Does she know?
Yeah. In fact, I think I will just reveal her token. Yeah. Okay. And then the last person that you learn about is Torrin Gaines. It's unusual that they're on the roster because they are like a professional racer. Like the kind of driver that, the like a race fan would recognize. They aren't like the biggest name in racing, but they're notable.
So they do the legal kind of racing.
Yeah, like they have done the 24 hours of Le Mans.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what you got.
Thank you.
Who hasn't done a gather information but wants a question answered?
Yeah, I haven't yet.
All right, what's your question?
I think I'm the one looking at maps. I'm sort of there. I've got them all folded out in the back seat. Just sort of planning, just sort of looking for where. So looking at routes, looking at sort of very specific like bits of like where will it get a bit thorny, and I'm basically looking for trying to work out where the place is that will cause the most trouble upon the route.
Okay. So, give me a roll. What do you think you're rolling for this? Study. Yep, that tracks.
Just the one, but we'll see how that goes.
That's a 2, unfortunately. I mean, It's not a failure because it's a fortune roll, but doesn't mean you get limited information. So, what you get is, the obvious route is the interstate that I've marked out in purple on the map that goes most of the way from Reno to Detroit. As for tricky spots, a lot of this, goes through flyover country, so to speak, large empty stretches of Nevada and Wyoming and Nebraska and Iowa. And those will be fairly isolated spots. You think that if anything shady was going to happen, it would probably be on one of those 2-lane sections of interstate. But unfortunately, that's a very large chunk of the race. So I think,
it's perhaps having to just quickly check in and being like, which one's Nebraska again?
Well, that'll be the 4th state that you're driving through. Okay, so a note about this race. One of you will need to be carrying the external hard drive, which will take up 1 pilot load. So who will be carrying it?
Let's see. Let me just check what the load is on here. Medium. I'm okay to carry it if everyone else on the team is okay with Paloma doing that.
I was gonna say I have one of the most heavy vehicles in terms of not getting too taken out. So it's perhaps one of the most stable places.
It's probably also the slowest.
It doesn't have to
the personal load or what?
It's the pilot load that the external hard drive takes up, not vehicle load.
Okay, yeah.
But also happy for you too.
I actually don't mind doing the pilot load because I have, if we're gonna game it, lighter armor. No character Zoe would be like, I have the fastest car.
I think Paloma
You don't
will.
have to trust me, but I promise to it. I can get through there quickest.
Yeah, Paloma has it from when Greta gave it to us. So I think Paloma will. We're probably not in the Starbucks anymore. Like this is later, so maybe like in a parking lot where we're meeting somewhere, or wherever our operating base is. I think there's a brief moment where Paloma will meet Zoe after that pronunciation that it's that he has to pass his car, and like hand the paper bag over to him and say, "I trust you to get this where it needs to be."
Hands here.
I'm sorry, I only heard hands here.
Sorry, it'll be in the safest hands here.
Paloma nods and then taps his own forehead, much in the same way that Trust Fund did earlier, and returns to head back over to their own car.
Okay. So I think that should be most of business before the race begins. Right. So this is a highly illegal race. You're crossing multiple state lines at presumably absurd speeds. And so for the rules of the road, frankly, there are none. So expect the worst.
Oh dear.
Yes. I guess actually that's not entirely true. There is one rule, which is that, well, two rules. Sorry. The first is that your vehicle that you start the race with is the only one you can win the race in.
Oh.
As the vehicles are gathering, which I will detail shortly, the race coordinators come around and hand each of you a GPS tracker that you must affix to your vehicle. And that is how they will know that you don't, say, drive your vehicle onto a cargo plane and then just fly it to Detroit. So yeah, and that's the second rule, is that you have to drive there. You can't put your vehicle in a plane or something and get there that way.
Is that going to be an issue if we're going to a ferry crossing?
No, they don't, like, they're definitely thinking of just like,
planes.
So, yeah. Like if you're getting on a ferry, that's not going to be. It might raise a question or two afterwards, but it's not the sort of thing where they're going to like forfeit you because you didn't stick to the letter of the rules. This is an illegal race, not a.
Also, unless there is some sort of route that I'm not expecting from Reno to Detroit, I'm almost positive if you're on a ferry, you have taken way too much time.
Yeah, there's also that. That's also a consideration. What else? So yeah, the objective is for one of you to win the race. This is not a team race, to be clear. So only one of you can get the prize money for winning the race. But in terms of your mission from the Green Guardians, only one of you needs to pass off this hard drive to Wilhelm Fesk.
Actually, I did have a question now that I think about it. Just as a clarification, because you mentioned the 4 people of note, one of which is Grey Team. Is Grey Team a number of the drivers in the race, or is there one driver from Gray Team in the race?
That was unclear from the amount of information
Perfect.
that Paloma was able to get.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
Okay. So is there any so the four of you arrive on race day in your vehicles. There's a wide variety of automobiles showing up here. You see it, there's like a couple motorcycles. One person has shown up in like a big rig without the trailer. There's plenty of sports cars, some like modded hatchbacks, some roadsters. There's like even another van. So bringing the grand total up to 3, not counting the Hummer. So yeah, it's a wide variety of cars here. Is there any brief snooping anyone wants to do? These would not be fortune rolls, though.
Mm-hmm.
As crowds mill about, audiences here waiting for the start of the race to see the initial send-off.
This might be a stretch. I have two possibilities of things to look into. One is see if by any chance either the black GM Suburban is here or someone who, from Enterax, or to try and determine which member of Gray Team is here. But I feel like that would be more interesting to discover during the race.
Okay. All right. Any other snooping that anyone wants to do amongst the crowds or amongst the collection of vehicles? Or do you all just want to stick by your vehicles and make sure no one messes with them?
Barbara is making last-minute adjustments.
You know what? I think Trust Fund actually has a clever idea, and he's gonna be on his phone. But what he's doing on his phone is looking to snooping around to see if he can figure out why Torian Gaines would be in an illegal race. Why is this pro racer here?
Okay. How do you want to try and figure that out?
Go up and ask for their autograph.
I think let's see here. I feel like this would be interface, because what I believe he's doing is going through like some news articles, but also like backlogs on Discord, like Discord channels, like the rumor mill, all this other stuff. Like I would think that potentially would be. Wait, I guess is I don't know. Is it actually interface?
Yeah, I would let you use interface for that.
Okay, then. And then. Okay, and here's a question. I'm probably not going to do this, but it would be helpful so that when we're in the scene, I can actually use it with confidence. So one of my special abilities is watch the kid. When I push myself, in addition to the normal benefits, I get one of the following. Roll dice equal to my connection ticks with another pilot instead of an action. And then I believe that's an or reduce the stress cost by 1.
Mm-hmm.
For watch the kid, just to double check, because I currently have a 1 in interface. That means that I could push it to a 2 with my connection with Zoe, but I'm guessing in the thematics that Zoe would have to be watching me, like, because I'm trying to show off in front of him, or is it just more abstract? Is that I'm using a connection?
It's both.
Okay.
You know, like if you can interpret it what it is that gives you that benefit, like, or maybe you're showing off,
Mhm.
maybe it's that you remember like observing Zoe using that skill and like from what that you've learned from them, you know, or some
Mhm.
other lesson from them.
Makes sense.
You know.
And the reason I'm asking this is because for people who don't know, the rookie, one of its powers, which is the wrong term, is that I actually have less starting character points than everybody else. So I have at best a 1 in something. So there is a lot of use of watch the kid for me, and I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page. But for right now, I will just use the normal interface roll.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Let's see. Yeah, this is I'm gonna say this is probably controlled. I think it's probably limited.
Makes sense. Number of dice is 1. I'll take a 5.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. You are able to dig up some rumors about what Torn Gains is up to. The thing that like tips you off is that people start pointing out that there is like a gap where they should be racing but aren't, right? Like there's for this chunk of time, this like week where this race is taking place, there's another race in like Italy that they presumably would be taking part in, but have not qualified for. And so eventually you come across information that says that you put together, there's Enterax put out a call that they were looking to make deals with some professional racers to help promote their products. So it's not hard to guess that Gaines could be here on Enterax's behalf.
Oh dear.
And as for as for your consequence, your controlled consequence, I am how hard do I want to start? Okay, I am going to put 1 tick in your fall back clock. And the reason for that is that while you are away from your car, someone turns your headlights on, and so it drains your battery some. And so you've got a bit of a like, it's not bad enough that you have like a damage to your vehicle, but it's enough that you're already starting out at a bit of a slower pace than everyone else, because they saw that you're driving an electric vehicle and figured they could take a bit of a kick out of you.
Rude.
And just as a reminder, I can resist, correct? Or
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna resist that one. Specifically, I mean, while away, like Trust Fund didn't move from his front of his car, but he was obviously not paying attention as well as he should have. So would like to resist. I guess it would be a resist via.
I think, well, that would be resolve.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
So I think that it's, well, tell us, how do you use resolve as someone is messing with your car? What does this look like as you resist this consequence?
Weirdly enough, I think it's interface. I think it's. I guess. Oh, you're right. Okay, that actually would be an engineer. It would be insight. If I would have checked and noticed that it was to fix it. Let's see here. I think
Have like a that controls his headlights.
I'm sorry.
Trust fund have an app that controls his headlights.
Oh, that's actually really funny. That's good. I like that. Yeah, it's he gets a notification on his app that notifies him that something weird happened, and it's obviously, and because this is what both the near future and also this rich engineering student that works on his electric vehicle. Yeah, it's way more detailed than you would ever need, really, as a normal person driving a car. And yeah, it's like just a little bit of like battery strain that's showing up. So because of the app, it pings. That's perfect. All right.
Okay.
So let's roll that resist. Resolve.
Do the regular headlight controls like built into the car work, or does it have to be through the app?
What?
No.
You thought of someone trying to.
No. Well, I'll put it this way: in real life, that's not how that works. Like, for example, like here's actually something for real: is that 2 years ago, because of the pandemic, obviously we weren't driving as much. I got notified that I should start my engine by my application. So that is definitely it's for that specific one. That is just a notification that something has gone weird. But there definitely are that application definitely does control stuff. I will say that, just not the headlights.
It feels like it would be a very, like, I know the car that you have there is a Volkswagen. It feels like it would be a very Tesla move that you can only control headlights with an app. Sorry, go ahead with your roll.
No, I got you. No, you're good. Resist with 4.
Right, so it costs you 2 stress to spot that trouble before it bites you. Yeah, you never did catch who turned your headlights on. All right. Is there anything else, or should we get to the green light?
Would love to get a green light for all of us.
I had one thing I wanted to do, and it's pretty quick and a lot less logically advanced as trust funds thing. Is I'm going to stick a potato in someone's tailpipe.
Okay.
I'm going to sneak around, and whoever's closest to me, that's our team.
Okay, what do you want to roll? What do you want to roll for that?
Owl?
Prowl? Yeah, that sounds right. You just typed roll 1d6. There we go. That's a 2.
Oh.
This was about to ask if you wanted help.
This was also going to be controlled limited. So, what What is it that happens? Yeah, okay. So I think you just go to like put a potato in the tailpipe of the closest car. And unfortunately, you pick a black Dodge Challenger to do this to.
No.
And so you like stand up from sticking the potato, or I guess probably like 2 potatoes, one in each tailpipe. And you like turn around. How tall is Zoe?
I'd say Zoe is probably like 5'8".
Yeah, okay. So you turn around and you're looking directly into the face of Tommy Doretto. And she does not look happy with you at all. And she grabs you by like, are you still wearing a tank top?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she grabs you by the front straps of your tank top and like slams you against the back of her car. And she says, "You don't fuck with another driver's ride." And then like lets go of you and looks at you and points at the tailpipes. Clearly with the expectation that you are going to take the potatoes out yourself. Do you?
Yeah. I think I just take him out. And my one thing is I was considering if like I didn't get caught yet, is to just take a bite out of one and pretend like I was having a snack. But I think I just take him out and just like throw him onto the ground.
What better way to warm up your potatoes than in a tailpipe?
I think I do take a bite out of one of them and just kind of like give her a hard look and then walk away.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, she, Tommy will remember that is your consequence. Okay. So let's start prepping for the green light. So what pilot load or driver load is everybody taking? Light, medium, or heavy?
So
Medium.
Medium on both.
Yeah, we'll describe your vehicles as they take off from the starting line after
Yeah,
the
sorry,
green light roll.
my pilot gear is medium also.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? Me too.
All right, mediums all around. Okay. So next up is tactic. What is the method that y'all are going to handle the initial 60 seconds, so to say, of the race? You know, the initial challenge of getting off the starting line and out of Reno. Do you want to do assault, deception, scientific, stealth, social, or transport?
I mean, we are literally doing a transport.
Yeah, that is definitely the mission
So-
is that.
So
but
to be clear, you're all doing your own separate green light rolls, so you don't have to
Right,
take
right.
the same tactic.
I
Mm.
keep forgetting about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if this is a stealth roll, but I was thinking about trying to like go straight through the desert.
Yeah, it's just go right off road. Yeah, sure. I think that probably would work for stealth. You're just trying to go undetected.
Would I guess would assault then just be like putting everything to the floor to get a head start?
I was going for in terms of not being unafraid to sort of ram into the side of someone else.
That would
yeah.
definitely also be assault.
That's what I'm going for.
That is not what.
I would say that assault also could apply to just pedal to the metal. So we've got assault for Behemoth, stealth for Zoe.
Let me just see here. So it's social, stealth, and transport, assault, deception, or scientific.
You know what? I guess I probably have to go with scientific or for the car, right? Yeah, no, it has to be scientific. If I got the tech, let's use it.
All right.
I think I'm going to do deception. And maybe I can do a flashback to the reason why later, unless you want me to do that now. But I think Paloma's plan is to. Sorry.
Go ahead with the flashback and what your plan is.
Yeah, Paloma's plan is to be seen. Did you share what you learned about Torin?
Oh yes, you all get texts.
Okay. I think I would like to be seen by Torin holding the paper bag as he gets into his car.
Oh, putting it on the line.
Yeah. So I think a deception for that is the tactic Paloma's going for.
Okay.
So Zoe has the bag for real, right?
Yeah, Zoe has the bag.
Okay. And trust fund, what's the unusual procedure used in your scientific tactic?
So this is. I guess it would be I'm trying to downscale it to near future cars, which is obviously a fun idea. So this is more of going back to the app idea and how cars even nowadays have applications and software is big. This is it's a minor. This is a minor hack. It basically is going to just force the cars. It's basically a slight, I guess, like around him. So it's the people who are around him. Purposely, our cars are not together for both because we don't want people to obviously know that we're working together at this moment, and two, for this moment, because it's not going to hit everybody. It's going to hit the people around him. Their car's software, if they do have them, because obviously some people probably have an older car, will reset to manual factory settings. Which one probably just makes them start slower, like a minute, maybe most, but like some people are going to be like really not having a good time for sure.
Yeah, that'll cause some issues for some of the newer cars, I'm sure.
Can't wait for somebody to be like, all their radio presets get toasted. It'd be great.
That's the worst that happens to them. Then they're off to a good start.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the worst. That's like the one person in the 90, in the 80 whatever car, and it's like, what happened to my radio presets? Well, the person in the 2020 XX is like, oh no.
Okay, so time for the green light roll. This is what we will use to determine where you start in the initial stages of the race. So everyone gets 1 die for plain old luck. Is your vehicle light? Take an additional +1 die. Is your vehicle heavy? Take -1 die. None of you are light. One of you is heavy. Also, please, each of you keep track of your own dice as I go through this list. Do you have a mobility suite? Take +1 die. If you want to declare one now, go right ahead. Is anyone going to declare a mobility suite for their vehicle?
Yes. I have light mobility suite. That's one of my tuner things. Also, probably those last minute adjustments, probably time to explain the on the fly adjustments move that I have.
Yeah.
So the on the fly adjustments means that all my undeclared vehicle load counts as a vehicle action point. And so at the start with nothing declared, I have an extra point in every single vehicle action. And as I declare load, I have to remove it to say oh, I'm gonna unplug the bit that gives me the extra manipulate, and I'm gonna plug it back into the bit that gives me the mobility suite. There's a lot of stuff going on in the When in Rome. So yeah, removing that one, manipulate, and giving yourself a mobility suite.
Okay, all of the precision and grace is now gone from the When in Rome in favor of brute speed, or whatever that mobility suite ends up being, which we will see shortly, I'm sure. All right. So is anyone else declaring a mobility suite?
No.
Okay. So next up, does your vehicle have applicable damage? All your vehicles are fresh, so you don't have to worry about that -1 die. Were you ranked first before the green light? AKA, did you have the pole position? Take +1D. I think it's safe to say that no one had the pole position in this group, and no one was also ranked last, so you also don't get a -1 die. Next up, are you driving recklessly? Take +1D and start the race in desperate position. Are you driving cautiously? Take a -1D and start the race in a controlled position. If you choose neither, you will start the race in a risky position. How is everyone driving? Desperately, controlled, or riskily?
Recklessly here. So
And yeah.
Normal. So I'll be risky.
Yeah, I'm going to start in just regular position. Don't want to draw attention to myself. Wink.
Yeah, and then I did some tech action, so while I'm not quite reckless, but I'm not super cautious.
Yeah, just middle of the road.
Yeah.
Okay, so Behemoth and Red Rover and Zoe will get an additional die for driving recklessly, and then the Paloma and Trust Fund have no change. Are there any other factors affecting the mission, such as benefits of squad, tier, specialized equipment, unusual terrain, and more? Is there anything of note? I don't think there is. Yeah, no complications specifically affecting y'all. Okay. So, Paloma, how many dice are you rolling?
1.
1. Behemoth, how many dice are you rolling?
2.
Trust Fund, how many dice are you rolling?
1.
And Zoe, how many dice are you rolling?
dice.
Sorry, how many?
Sorry, 2.
2 dice. Okay. So all of you roll your green light dice. All right. So except for Trust Fund, everyone is in the pack with 4s across the board. All right. So, and then Trust Fund ends up behind. Okay. So, Paloma, what does it look like as you shoot off out of the gate?
So Paloma is make sure to just slightly flash that paper bag that has been wrinkled just so. As they get into their van, they are driving Sorry, just one moment. I lost what I was clicking on. They are driving a 1995 Fiat Ulysse, which has been heavily modified. It's a boxy green minivan. It's got white pigeon wing racing stripes along the sides. The back passenger windows are not there. The rear window has armored slats over the tinted glass, so you can't see into the back part of the minivan at all. But there's a little decal on the back of it that says Livia. It's the name of the van. So he gets in and checks briefly in his rearview mirror just to make sure Torrin saw him. And it takes a couple of tries to get the engine to start up, and he smacks the steering wheel at one point and mutters a few curses, and then she comes to life, and just in time to put his foot down. And what's surprising about this minivan is that it takes off real fast. Like, the acceleration is a lot faster than one would expect from this POS vehicle from external look. It's the torque on this baby is maybe a little bit too much, but the car races off to the start. The top speed isn't high, but it's a good start, I think, for Paloma, all things considered.
Great. Behemoth, what's it look like as your vehicle that you should describe now takes off from the starting line?
Behemoth's vehicle is absolutely the biggest one here by a little bit. She is making herself very well known as she is sort of slamming into people. It is... Yeah, there is some odd sparks. There are some weird noises. This doesn't sound like a very normal engine at all. And it is sort of oddly fast, but still... And then just sort of like glances off other vehicles. At first, seemingly by accident, but then it's obvious it's a tactic. But so like, not managing to get in front due to sort of doing that initial sort of bashing about, and yeah, drawing a lot of attention to herself.
Okay, and what does your vehicle look like?
Oh, it is a huge, heavily modified Hummer. My look, it's far too big, lots of compartments, not technically a lorry. And it is just huge. It is sort of very high off the ground. There's a lot of suspension there. Sort of big old lights up top. Not like especially painted, but yeah, just has some mechanical quirks that it's very much like, who the fuck would build something like this? And the answer is a weird old English woman who decided to go and become an illegal cross-country racer.
Okay. Zoe, what's it look like as you shoot off the starting line?
Probably messy. Cause I definitely kind of rev the engine, do that reaching, and then fly off, and then just sort of veer off the road into the desert and go through a bush. A bush stuck in the grill of my car. I'm driving a 1994 Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor. The most common police cars in the United States during the 90s, basically. So I have a grill in front of the car to kind of catch stuff like this bush. It's black and blue, but the paint's kind of chipped off, and it looks like also I had pasted it with red paint, but it's a little bit rusty. I'm just hightailing it into the desert.
Potatoes spilling everywhere.
All right. Potatoes spilling everywhere.
Lots of potatoes.
And Trust Fund, what's it look like as you lag behind, not so much leaping off of the starting line as limping?
Right. So Trust Fund drives a modified VW ID Buzz, which is the I believe, upcoming take all electric take on the old VW bus. But it is obviously modified. When he gets in, he actually hits the panel and hits a few buttons on the infotainment section, going from the stock switching to a custom UI. And the reason why the start seems normal as opposed to gunning it like everybody else, or for most people, is because he was setting up the hack. So what was actually driving the car is the autonomous vehicle cruise control. So he started in cruise control, and while the car was getting off the gate, also had his typing on a computer, like on a tablet, so that the hack went off right as everybody else was starting. So that is canonically why he started out behind in the pack, was so that other people were even farther behind. It was on purpose. It wasn't a bad roll.
Not owned.
Okay, so as these drivers take off throughout the desert and the road, and these 32 cars set off on their way to Detroit, we will begin tackling the race itself after this short break. So stick around so you can see the rest of how this wild race goes. We'll be back shortly.
We get to play the race?
All right, we are back from our break and ready to continue the race. But just before, I just want to remind everyone why we're here. We are here to raise money for Black and Pink, which is a prison abolitionist organization dedicated to trying to protect marginalized people who are affected by the terrible punishment system. So there is a link in chat to donate to. If you want to donate, please do if you're able to. All right. Now on with our crimes of rushing across the United States. So we've got 3 of you driving along the road, trying to get out of Reno, get onto the interstate, presumably, and one of you just booking it right across the desert. Funnily enough, it's not the one in the big off-road vehicle. It's the one in the cop car. So, I think right off the bat, Zoe, we're gonna throw a challenge at you because deserts are not just something you can easily drive through. There are rocks, there are bushes, there are wild animals, there are gullies, and there are just sandbanks. So, as you are driving across, how are you trying to handle all of these natural obstacles?
I think I'm just trying to like take it as I go, you know, like I'll dodge a coyote here and like kind of like ramp up a bank and then I guess word a gully. Like I'm not windier than I expected to be, but I'm making it, I think. Roll.
Yeah, what do you want to roll for that?
I think I'd roll maneuver.
Yeah, that tracks. And how many dice is that?
I feel like I should push myself. Sorry, that's my dog.
Yeah. Sure. So, which quirk are you spending to push yourself? I guess the dog is having quite the barking fit.
It's always like the pet knows exactly when you've stopped breaking and then must announce themselves to the world.
Yeah.
See you there?
Here, I'm just not. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I readjust my mic. But oh, sorry. V11 quiet engine block.
V11 engine block. Okay, and what does that look like as you invoke
Power
that?
through it.
Just all right.
Yeah, I think it's the power. Like, so basically, I can slow down and like maneuver things, and then just like literally slam back on, and I'll get back to speed immediately.
Okay, so you are in a desperate position. I guess the terrain out here does not agree with your road vehicle as part of that. So,
I don't know if this is part of Rush Wars, but Devil's Bargain available.
yeah, that's absolutely part of Rush Wars. What would be a good Devil's Bargain? Oh, I got one. I will start a clock for Interax figuring out where the external hard drive is and add a tick to it.
I think I'll pass on that one. I'm going to go with my and hope for the best.
Okay, so that's are you pushing this would be desperate and do you have any reason that this wouldn't be limited? Driving through the desert like this, do you have any gear that would help you?
I don't know if I have any gear besides my like car itself is kind of meant to be, even though it is a like urban vehicle, it's meant to kind of go over curbs and stuff like that. I can see what I would name.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to declare
I don't know
something
anything
if
special.
if you don't have anything that'll help you, then you're gonna be limited effect with this, unless you want to use your push for improved effect.
I think I want to keep it for dice. There a like claim my grill to kind of catch things?
You want to
That's
declare
like
something for your grill, or declare your grill as a piece of gear?
Exactly. So I don't know if that would count as anti-infantry or like or something.
It could count as a melee weapon.
Wow.
Yeah, a melee weapon or
I'll
two.
claim it as a melee weapon.
Okay, so mark that off. And we'll give you standard effect, since you can just plow through some of those obstacles instead of going around them. So desperate standard, 3 dice. I don't think, yep. Oh, that's a 6. Well done.
Hey.
Nice.
So you managed to just plow through some bushes, through some low ridges of sand. And where do you want to put your 3 ticks? The advance clock, the finish line clock, or a racer's fallback clock? Which reminds me, I need to pull those up for the other rival racers.
Them all in the same place.
No, you can spread them out.
Not even. Finishing is getting closer to finish, and then the advancement would be being in the lead.
Yeah.
All into advance, or no, 2 in advance and 1 into finish.
1 into advance and 1 into finish. Okay.
Wait, do I have 3 ticks or 2?
Because you were standard.
Okay, yeah, so that's fine. That works for me.
Okay. All right. So you all make some further progress through the state of Nevada. So trust fund, you are at the very back, along with some other slow starters, some sedans and hatchbacks. What would you like to do to try and make your way forward?
I guess what I would want to do now to try and get back is to kind of push my engine, the electrical engine, to its maximum to just power through this open stretch of road.
Yeah, I don't know how open it is with all the other cars around, but
that's well, I was more guessing like we're in Nevada at this point. This is desert and plain types of terrain as opposed to you know what I mean, like it's usually a straight shot. There are other cars. You are correct.
Yeah.
You know what? You're right. There are other cars there. And this would be perfect time to throw my weight around against the smaller vehicles.
Okay.
So
yeah, there's a couple of hatchbacks you can knock around. I don't think any of the handful of motorcyclists are near you, but you might be the biggest vehicle in this little group back here.
Okay.
So, what are you rolling for that? Battle?
Yes, this is going to be battle.
Okay.
Okay, so it's And I will push myself. And instead of taking reduced stress for that, I will think about how one of the persons that I look up to, just completely, desperately got off the starting line. So I'm basically following his lead as I recklessly damage this pristine car.
Just doing whatever it takes to get ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that will be 2 as opposed to 1.
Because of Watch the Kid. Yep. You roll with your connections. And then are you taking let's see, this will be risky. I think it'll be risky standard. Unless there's any gear you want to declare to help you with that.
See here. You know what? Yeah, let's see on the gear list what we got going on here.
Nothing fancy since you're the rookie.
Yep. I don't know if I want to spend that yet, though. I was actually thinking it would be very funny to turn on a shield or force field, which is funny because it's like, oh, nothing fancy, but like you're right, nothing fancy in terms of gear in the game, but like in the real world, it'd be like probably the fanciest thing out of everybody, which is very funny to me. You know what? It is very funny to me. I'm going to spend that force field because, like I said, it's interesting to just this dichotomy between this punk kid who's also have like this ridiculous vehicle.
Okay, so what does this look like as you hit this force field? What is it? Is it just that you have like a giant... Oh, go ahead.
No. I'm trying to think. Like, it could just literally be like the far future, and it's like a force field is if you would like... You know what? No, it's an EV. Yeah, it's like it's literally like a Tesla coil. Like lightning's going towards the wheels or the tires of other cars.
Are you sure that's a force field and not a directed energy weapon?
Oh wait, do I have directed? Oh, there is a weapon that is directed energy. I guess in this case it would be directed. You're right. I'll take that instead. Both are fun. So you're right. I was like, it'd be fun to use shields as a weapon, but like directed energy weapon actually, fits the description better. That's good.
All right, we command and conquer now.
Pretty much. Okay, so let's action.
All right, so that'll bring you. I think that won't change your position, but it will change your. I think you. I don't think this brings you... Does this bring you to great effect? I don't think it does, honestly, because it's not a fine directed energy weapon. But I think it's what allows you to keep your standard and affect all the vehicles around you.
Okay. I'll take that. Yeah. So in that case, I'm rolling 3.
3 dice, okay.
And then, this is a situation, like I said, I pushed myself, so that is 2 stress, right? And it's not
No, this would be one of your vehicle quirks.
Perfect.
So which quirk?
Danger, high voltage. That's a 6.
That is a 6. Okay, where do you want to put those 2 points as you fry several of the cars around you? The advance clock, finish line, or someone's fall back?
The advance.
Okay.
Both are all points in advance, so that'd be 2, correct?
Yep.
Boom.
Okay. So you cook a bunch of the cars around you. I think a number of the drivers nearby, which, to be clear, includes civilian drivers, because the roads aren't exactly closed for this race. They're freaking out. They were not expecting a localized lightning storm at a street level today.
They should have checked the weather.
The weather calls for minivan. Yeah. So some of them go spinning out as, their tires burst as they're struck by lightning, or their, internalized computers fail. And you start to pull ahead of them, but you're still not in amongst the majority of the other cars, which is where we find Paloma and Behemoth in amongst the pack. So, which of you two has an idea of how you want to try and get ahead or cause a ruckus?
I have a very silly idea, but I think I'll probably save that one for later. For now, I think Paloma's main focus is on making sure that they're being followed. So I'm trying to think of something else that he could do that would make that likely to happen. And do we know where in the race Torin is? Is Torin in the pack or behind? Or
I don't think you know what car they're driving.
Oh, okay, I thought I saw them when I was flashing my hard drive bag, but
you know what? That's fair. I'll put them. I'll make them visible.
If not, I can try to. Okay, so they're up ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're up ahead, which means that I need to either get up there as well or draw them back. Well, it's a race. It would be suspicious not to try to win it, and so I think what Paloma is going to do is, let's see here. Let me look at my quirks. Okay. To try to get ahead of the other cars in the pack. So the Olivia here has mobile panels, which maybe it's not super clear what that means, but it means that the actual panels on the sides and top of the minivan can move around independently of the car. So there's like a hydraulic system that can be used to move them up and down and in and out, which has some use, I'm sure. And one of those uses, I think, is to probably need to declare gear for this. Essentially, I want to use a reflective surface on my car to reflect the light from the nearby lightning storm that's going on and sort of disco ball that to dazzle the drivers around me.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm not sure if I need to declare gear to do that or what it would be.
Yeah, that is a good question.
I guess it could maybe be a hollow projector.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah, I guess that's the closest thing. So sure, I'll put a hollow projector on there, and the panels open up, and underneath those panels that have opened up, there is like mirroring and those segmented mirrors, like disco ball style, attempting to angle them to catch the light and dazzle it about.
Okay. What is this roll?
That's a very good question, Austin. I think this might be I destroy? No, it's not destroy because I'm not destroying anything.
I mean, when you use sort of like uncontrolled power can be destroyed. And so if you aren't being super precise about how you're wielding these blinding lights, it could be destroy.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide to what extent would Paloma be concerned about the people who are not part of this race who are around. But I think probably Paloma is past that part of their life. So yeah, I'll do a destroy roll with this as the lights flash everywhere.
Okay, so that'll be risky standard.
Okay. And yeah, I think I'm just going to roll that as it is at the moment.
Okay, so that's one die.
Nice. I got a 2.
A 2. Okay. So, let's see. What I am going to do is I am going to start a clock.
Oh.
Yeah. 4-tick clock called Interacts Learns the Truth. And then I am going to put 2 ticks in it. It is a 4-tick clock that is half filled. They are figuring out where that hard drive is.
Okay. I think so are you doing, is that 2 consequences?
Yeah. Well, that is a single 2-tick consequence.
Oh, okay. I thought it was, yeah. So it's not 2 controlled, it's 1 risky. Okay. Let's see here. I think I will probably try to resist that. Obviously, that's the opposite of what Paloma wants to happen, which is why it's a good consequence. Yeah, I'm going to try to resist that consequence happening.
Well, remember,
yes, go ahead.
Yeah, when you resist a vehicle actions, it is 4 minus your attribute rating, which is 2 for you in both expertise and acuity. So it's going to cost you 2 quirks.
All right, let me take a look at what I've got here. Obviously, armor wouldn't fictionally do anything here, so that's not much help. Okay,
you can't even spend your spark to negate this, since it's yourself who is who has this consequence.
Yeah. Well, let's see. It would exhaust 2 quirks, right?
Yep.
And which ones do I need here?
Just to be clear, if Entrax learns the truth, that doesn't cause your mission to fail.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to give as much advantage as possible to our team. But, I think we'll accept that consequence for now and save the quirks for when things get a little bit more serious.
Okay. All right. Behemoth. You just watched Paloma deploy a light show. In response, the trust fund deploy a lightning storm. What are you going to do to try and get out of this risky position, or get out of the pack, or advance the race?
Seeing a bunch of... This is a lot of tactics for early on. I think I've sort of done my little gun show to sort of intimidate some people to sort of get into the middle of the pack. And I'm just gonna... Now's the time to just sort of whack in that mobility suite, pedal to the metal. Let's just go straight on. So I feel I've done my intimidation tactic, and now it's like, okay, now time to take advantage of that and just go. And I've seen the little tactics not go super well over here, and I'm like, let's go. Let's just drive.
No need to get fancy. Just do the damn thing.
Yeah.
All right. What do you want to roll for that?
I'm going to say maneuver.
Yeah. Okay. And do you want to spend any quirks or want any collateral dice or?
What's my effect at the moment?
Yes. Your effect. You have a mobility suite. It's not a fine one, and you're not doing anything too fancy with it. I think this will be standard effect. Actually, no. It'll be great effect because you're just amongst the pack, and there's no big opponents. So we'll say desperate great.
Love desperate great. I'm just gonna roll it. I'm just gonna roll it flat. I have 3d6 thanks to my fancy on the fly adjustments. So I'm just gonna roll that. See how we do.
That's a 6.
Bada bing.
Hey.
Okay, where do you want to put those 3 ticks?
I think I'll take 1 into the progress clock, and then 2 for me to just move on forward. This is Behemoth just cruising. He's on her element. He's having a great time.
Okay, so, and did you say you wanted to put 1 into the finish line?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think with 2 ticks done into the finish line, you all have made your way out of Nevada and are entering Utah and Wyoming shortly thereafter. So, you're starting to get out of the raw and rough desert of Nevada and starting to get into the more broken terrain of Utah. So, Zoe, the desert is coming to an end. What are you going to do about that? Are you going to continue your off-road shenanigans, or are you going to try and find a road to get back onto?
I think I'm going to try to, at least for the moment, get back onto a road. And then not gotten like past kind of like the part of it, and then get going. Like probably find a good like that's available. Like I don't know if I want to do the main highway, but I think like a nice like the side road if I could find one.
Yeah. Okay, so how are you going to try and find that side road that you're looking for?
Let's see. Just like look for it. That kind of sounds like survey, which I don't have.
Since this is an old cop car, do you maybe have one of those old map computers that you could use with scan? See? Are you there, C?
Oh.
Well, maybe we lost C. Okay. We will come back to Zoe trying to find a side road shortly. So Trust Fund, you are still in the back And like I said, you're out of the deserts of Nevada and entering into Utah. What are you gonna do now?
I feel like this would be a good time to. Yeah, this is definitely a good time to try to basically scan. Like I think I'm gonna use this like a scanner to just kind of make sure that the cops aren't around at this time to basically go as fast as I can with the knowledge that I will not be having more people in addition to the other drivers following us.
Okay, so you like scanning for cops? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to scanning for cops, and I mean, if there's more information that we can get in the near future besides just cops, cool, up for that, but that would be my goal. Do you have a devil's bargain for this one?
Let's see, devil's bargain for this one. Yeah, the people who were behind messing with your headlights show up and start messing with you more directly.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely. I'll definitely take that. That's a future me problem. So yeah, that's fine.
You want some potential help as well?
Sure.
So, I could have some like weird satellite transponder just to like boost the signals or something.
Ooh, that's cool. I like that.
We're sort of having 2 points of triangulation and such.
It helps that you're in front of me too.
Yeah, okay. So how much stress does that cost you, Behemoth?
Just the one. I have just the one belief. As
Okay.
I have always had a soft spot for the nouveau riche.
All right. And so which benefit are you going to take, Trust Fund?
I will. So right now it would be before taking that bonus. What would be the roll? So it'd be
risky. Do you have any gear to help you scan for cops?
Not this one. I'll take because I start with 1. I took the devil's bargain, so that's 2. The help could be 3. So I'll take risky, and then the die. So I'll take 3 dice.
Okay. But your effect is going to be limited for finding the cops because you don't have like unless you wanted
the gear.
to quit.
Okay, now I understand what you meant. Okay, You know what? I'll go. I'll switch it. I'll just go. I'll go 2 dice and then take the effect. Right?
Yep. Okay. So risky standard with 2 dice. Hey, that's
what
a
can
6.
it go wrong? I'll take a 6.
Okay.
Ooh, and then that's still 2. So I will take both in rank, or I guess in advance, which would then fill the clock to 4.
Yeah. All right. So that moves you up to the pack. And still in risky.
And then I go back to 0.
Yep. Okay.
Can you guys hear me at all? Just checking.
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, I just unplugged it and replugged it.
So now everyone is in the pack, and the devil's bargain that you took, Trust Fund, kicks in, which is that as you are pulling up towards the primary group of vehicles in the race, a black van, the other van that you saw back in the group, black van with a red stripe down most of its length and a red spoiler on top, pulls up next to you. And the side panel of it opens up. And inside, you can see 3 soldier-looking people with some machine guns, and they all point at you. And so I am moving you to a desperate position.
Welcome.
Because you got the attention of the gray team.
It's bound to happen.
It's a carrier.
So, Zoe, with you back, you were trying to find a side road to get onto.
I was gonna go with, as you suggested, scan and just kind of use my old garment, police garment that I came with.
Yeah, your old police computer. Okay. So you're gonna roll scan. Do you want to spend anything to bump that up? Any quirks you want to spend, or
May I offer some assistance?
Take assistance if you want. Yeah.
I would like to use my tactical genius ability. So 2 times permission, you can assist a squad mate without paying stress. Tell us how you prepared for this. What I would like to say is that during the run-up to the race over the last few days, Paloma has been reaching out to contacts along the projected route that Zoe was going to take through the desert, like the straight line, and has had like a little transponders that have been planted around this part of the area so that the old computer in the 94 police car can like ping those and get directed towards the route, the side road.
good idea. Okay, and so how many benefits do you provide?
It just says you can assist without paying stress. I'm not sure.
But your level 2 connection.
Oh yeah, level 2 connection.
Okay, so that's two bonuses that you give Zoe.
I would like to, or does he decide what he gives me?
Nope, you decide. So you are, let's see, desperate standard.
I think I'd like to take an extra die and also increase my effect.
Okay, so desperate great with 2 dice, I believe. Okay, so roll those 2 dice. Uh-oh. That's a 2. Oh no. Okay, so a desperate consequence
Ooh.
for Zoe. All right. Let's see. You are kind of. No. Okay. I think I know what this is. Okay. So what happens is that you misread the you misread the guidance that you've gotten, because the transponders that were put out, they work with your car's computer, but they're also like too modern for your car's computer, and so the information gets a little fuzzy that you have. And what ends up happening is you find yourself back on the interstate, unfortunately. And you're about you realize as you're like looking around, like, how the heck did I get here? That you're ahead of most of the other people. And just as you're about to cheer for that, the black Dodge Challenger of Tommy Doretto rams into you because she has not forgotten about you, Mr. Potato Man, or Mr. Potato Head. And so let's see. Right. You are going to take she rams you and like starts to spin you out some. And so you take I'm going to put 3 ticks into the fall back clock for this. As you were initially ahead when you got back to the interstate, but then as you spin out, you end up back in the pack, but still losing speed as you try and regain control of your vehicle. Unless, of course, you want to resist that in some way. Yeah. Okay.
Cork. So if I spend 2, that would be a lot. I think I'm not going to say it.
Could I use my other ability here?
Oh, yeah.
I have Mastermind. You may spend your spark to protect a squad mate, push yourself when you gather information, or work on a long-term project. I don't know if this needs to be combined with a flashback or not, but if I'm spending my spark to say that Paloma did something before the race started to soften the impact, I guess, of this, would I need to do a flashback for that as well, or does the ability cover that?
The ability would cover that. Just describe how you have prepared for this eventuality.
Okay. I think we get a flashback scene. We get that sort of rewind sound effect, and the camera angle shifts. It's the scene where, it's the potato scene. So Tommy Doretto is in the midst of dressing down Zoe. And while that is happening, we didn't notice this in the initial take, but, viewers who are watching this obsessively later on, because it's such a good film, will see this at that point. The camera shifts. And we see Paloma walking past in the background, walking past the car. And as he does, there's a zoom in on something falls out of the sleeve of his green trench coat and bounces off of his boot just so to go underneath the Charger. And it's just a little tiny, what's the thing that would be useful here? This is a Charger, so it's, I don't want it to be like too dramatic because this is just a protection roll, but like a little tiny bomb, but it's not like an explosive bomb, a little tiny bomb that when it goes off, it will like expanding foam will spread out into the undercarriage of the car so that when it goes to ram into the police car, the foam bomb kind of goes off and the wheels are kind of gummed up, reducing the speed of the car.
Okay. So it bumps into Zoe's ex-police car. And instead of spinning out, he just gets shaken up some and falls back into the pack, but is a pace with everyone else as well. Okay, so speaking of Paloma, what are you doing now that there's a van with a bunch of machine gunners about to shoot up trust funds van? Or do you want to try and get ahead or help Behemoth get ahead, or Zoe for that matter?
Let's see here. What can I do that will be not ridiculous in a bad way? I think I am going to. This is a bad choice. I'm going to. All right, so I'm still, I guess, kind of. I'm in the pack. So everyone's in the pack at the moment. Okay, but I was ahead before. So I think when Paloma glances into their rearview mirror, taking off the sunglasses that they put on for the failed light show, they see that this gray team has pulled up next to the electric car and is opening up with the machine guns. So I think Paloma hits the brakes a little bit and drops back so that the back of their car kind of slots directly in between the space between CJ's car and the van, so that like it's kind of not quite crashing, but like going directly in between the two to provide a bit of cover. And in that moment, there's a concealed gun in my car. It's a small firearm that is almost impossible to find, only effective at close range. So I think the goal is for me to slow down enough so that I like slam into this little slot of space between the two. Probably not the best for my car, but that's what those mobile panels are for. And then like a little window opens in one of the side panels on that side, and it's just like a handgun with an automatic trigger, and it just starts shooting into the gray team car.
Okay, are you shooting into the car as in the car itself, or are you shooting into the interior of the car since they've got the side panel open?
The goal is to like block the side panel and then shoot into the side panel, the open side panel.
Okay. All right. So what are you rolling for that?
It feels like so many things.
I mean, are you
maneuver because it's trying to get the positioning correct?
It could be. Are you? Well, I mean, if you're trying to like control where they're going, that's probably manipulate. If you're using the vehicle itself, you could. If you're also just aiming to intimidate them, you could do command with the gun, adding some threat to it, some weight to your threat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that makes sense to me. Paloma can have a little thing that goes through the speakers if this works out at all. I will try.
What's your goal again?
My goal is to have them not be shooting at CJ. Like, I want to stop them from killing CJ with their guns. So prevent them from being able to unload into the VW.
I don't know if I'm close enough to be able to help with this, but I would say that like once Charger strikes me, I kind of like back off for a second and then maybe see this happening and then really just kind of break, so then I'm right in front of the gray team and they can't really like go forward or to the side because also CJ's there as well.
Yeah, you're boxing them in.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, do you give that assist? How many benefits does that provide?
2 benefits.
Okay. So Paloma, you're the only one in a risky position right now. So that will be, I think, risky standard. So how do you want to take your benefits?
Well, I think I'll take the 1D. And the second benefit says improved effect. I think that would be nice.
Okay. So risky great. With the extra die, roll it.
Okay. Dice don't fail me now. Well, there's a 4 in there.
Well, 4 is better than those other 2s.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, that's for sure.
Okay. So what does your success look like?
Yeah, so the like we mentioned, it pulls back. The mobile panels lift up a bit to fit into that space, and then like a little handgun pops out and just starts firing. And as it does, Paloma is speaking through the speakers in the back and says, my wife used to be a big fan of illegal street racing, and something that she told me is that once you bring the guns out, the fun's done. So let's try to play nice.
I think I just twigged to who your face cast might be. Okay. Yeah, so that is a success. So that I'm gonna say that the gray team they get pushed away from trust fund. They have to close their panel van back up. So trust fund moves to a risky position thanks to your efforts. And I'm going to say that you also have 2 ticks you can spend. Where do you want to put those?
All right, let me just double check where I can spend those. So when you gain the ticks, okay, so your own advance rank clock to any driver's fallback clock or to the finish line clock. Or to split their ticks. Okay, I think I am going to I'm trying to fictionally map this in my head how this would work.
So wait, it is any advance, correct?
Yeah.
This is their own.
But
Oh,
this-
okay.
Here's what, right? Or is it your own?
Your own advance clock.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, so I was thinking if I could put it into other advanced clocks, that would be helpful. But if it's just my own, yeah, I think I am going to put them into my own advanced clock for now, and my own advanced rank clock, with the reasoning that once I have done this activity, like the external panels that have fallen off give me a bit of extra speed, the ones on the back there, so that I can once I see the gray team has peeled back a bit, I can just hit the gas, and that powerful torque on my van gives me a sudden boost up towards the next rank.
Yeah, that checks out. And now for your consequence.
Yay.
Your risky consequence. Antrax learns the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So, what happens is that you're driving along and you're sort of slowing down so you can line up the shots on the gray team. And then when you look back up to focus on driving again, you see that there is an Enterex quad rotor drone that has been flying amongst the cars, and it has stopped at yours and is looking through your window into the paper bag and sees that it's not an external hard drive in there. I don't know what you have in there. Maybe a hardback book or something. What do you got?
It's just a sandwich, for later.
Yeah, so they see that you do not have the hard drive, and as you look around, you realize that there's several drones flitting amongst the racers, and one of them, and then 2 of them, and then 3 of them begin circling Zoe's car.
Okay. I think I am going to resist that one, even though it is an expensive thing to do. Yeah, I think I'm gonna resist that one. And the way that I'm gonna do that is I already mentioned that the mobile panels were like the ones in the back were damaged by that last maneuver back there. So I think in seeing these drones, Paloma runs a couple of quick calculations on a calculator that he has mounted on the dash. You know how they have those little mounts, the suction cup mounts that you'd normally put a GPS on there. I think he's got just a calculator on there. And he does some calculations on that and then flips up the panel that would normally conceal the cigarette lighter. And in there is instead a little red button, which he counts down and then accelerates very quickly, swerves, and presses the button at the same time. And the rear panels fly off to get slingshotted over the roofs of the cars to take out some of the nearby drones before they can transmit that data back. And that would exhaust the mobile panels quirk. At the same time, I think the rapid acceleration and the swerve that they do there, in addition to the swift acceleration to get back on track right afterwards, blows out the torque booster customization. So maybe that's too much torque quirk gets exhausted as well as the torque starts to degrade rapidly in Paloma's car, in Livia here.
Okay. All right. So you managed to stop Entrax from learning where the hard drive is. They still think you have it for now. And okay, so Behemoth, there's a whole bunch of nonsense going on around you. And what are you going to do now after the gray team has been driven off between the efforts of Zoe and Paloma?
It's just a quick thing. Paloma will probably bark out a quick radio message like, look over, there's drones. They're snooping around.
Well, that's not good at all. I think that Behemoth is sort of towards the front of the pack bit and is now... And it's just sort of noticed a lot of this sort of malarkey going on behind her. And just sort of wants to sort of be able to focus on the driving again. It's what she's after, it's what she likes. And sort of is just going to try and I think sort of we're going past perhaps a sort of fairly unstable looking rock formation through this desert. I presume there are deserts in this state that we're in.
There can be a rock formation regardless of whether or not there's a desert. But yeah, Utah is pretty rocky.
There's rocks. I think it's just going to try and create a sort of block in the road. Just sort of mess up the road a bit. Just to make it just nasty driving to sort of follow behind her so she can focus on chasing the lead.
Yeah, okay.
Just a bit of wanton distraction.
All right, what do you want to roll for that?
I would love to roll destroy.
Yeah, that tracks.
Do you want help on that?
I'd love some help on that.
Yeah, I think this is how Trust Fund is helping is as like a pick, because it is hard. Granted, it's very hard to obstruct the big giant Hummer. But if anyone can get in front, so it's less like, oh, I'm in front of the Hummer blocking the view so you can't see. It's more I'm getting up close to the vehicles, so I have to be up. It's not like, oh, I'm in close to the Hummer, I am close to the opponents so that they can't see over the VW bus.
Yeah, okay. Blocking line of sight so they don't know that there's a rock slide ahead.
Yep.
All right.
And then
So-
that is one connection, so I take 1 stress.
All right. So, Vivien, you are still in a desperate position as you desperately ram into some rocks to try and put a large boulder the size of a small boulder on the road. What would your effect be? Do you have any gear in support of this?
Your distraction tools are 2. And those would be the ones I would go for. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go without, but may push myself to sort of
Oh.
do the same thing.
Okay, I think that'll be desperate limited.
So yeah, I'll push myself. So with the help, I'll take a dice. With I'm gonna take my ultra heavy frame quirk to push me up to standard.
Okay, so desperate standard with 3 dice as you ram into a rock formation with your Mega Hummer.
Yeah. Try desperate standard 3 dice.
Hey, that's a
Oh my
6.
God. The rolls, they keep coming.
Yeah, you've had some good luck. All right. So, describe what happens.
I can Sam, this is some lovely coordination between our pals. We got the everyone's just sort of very caught up with all the sort of fighting that's been going on, and she just managed to get a little bit ahead around the sort of corner that's blocked by this. Slams hard into the sort of side of it that leads to the rocks, collapsing on down, sort of into the road. There's sort of perhaps sort of one of the unnamed cars that was sort of trying to like catch up, just goes like slamming straight into one, and for the rest of the others, there's just sort of a big diversion, sort of off the road, leading for her to have a clear lack of anyone trying to catch her up.
Yeah.
Just sends a radio message back being like, where we are go. Let's see how this does. Good luck. Message forward if you need anything.
Yeah, so Behemoth in the Win in Rome slams forward into the lead alongside Torrin Gaines and Tommy Doretto, as the 3 of them are well ahead of anyone else. 2 of them using speed, 2 of them using brute force, and the one that is using both is the Dodge Challenger. And with that, we are going to take a short break before we come back to finish this race. So stick around for the conclusion. All right, we are back for the rest of this race. So, 3 of you are in the pack. 1 of you has desperately pulled ahead. So, Zoe, what are you gonna do?
Think I'm going to try to just rev my engine and catch up with. This might be 2 things, but I want to try to catch up with who's in the charger again? Tommy.
Yeah.
And then like yell out my window like an apology. Hi, I'm sorry about the potatoes. You rammed me. Right? Truce.
That's so good.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I'll let you try and do that. What do you want to roll for that?
Sword? I guess sway also would probably be more.
Yeah, I think either could work.
Go with consort because I'm not like. I guess there's a kind of convincing, but I'm also just apologizing.
Yeah. You got anything that's going to help you with this in a year?
Let's see. I don't know if I have any gear that will help me with it. I've got propaganda pamphlets. I don't know if that'll work.
Do you want help?
I was gonna say, was a bribe that might be helpful.
So, interesting. So, would it be helpful if there was a flashback and before the race even started that I was over with your car, like with your car, installing a speaker, like a loudspeaker, so that you can actually speak with this apology? Or is the idea that you were radioing it over somehow? Like,
I feel like if there's like a radio as an option, I don't know if like projector.
I mean, you can
just
take
have,
pilot
like, the,
gear too. One of the pilot gear items is a long range transmitter.
But my long range transmitter is just like bullhorn, maybe.
Bullhorn, yeah.
I don't know
like
if,
like no.
I don't know if I could offer a piece of my gear as a form of assistance.
I'm just gonna claim the transmitter as one to just kind of help me do this because obviously we're high speeds on the highway, so I doubt they could hear me if I was yelling at them. And
This
then
is a
I'm also
movie.
gonna push myself. About the potato thing.
As Paloma, as an assist, yeah, I'll let you hand over a piece of gear.
Because I have the high priority comm decoder. This device gives you the back channels for reaching anyone's personal communicator, but that doesn't mean that they know or care who you are.
Yeah, sure. Mark it off, I guess.
So do I just use the radio and then like it comes on her speakers or something?
Yeah. Basically. And so how many benefits are you giving to Zoe?
It's 2, because we have 2 connections. Is this a stress assist, I guess?
Yeah, I would say so.
That's 2 stress because we have 2 level 2 connection.
Yeah. Unless you
Okay.
want to spend your tactical genius.
I'm still
You
trying
got-
to. Yeah, I feel like. Yeah, it might. I haven't used any stress. I may as well use the tactical genius for that. And yeah, that's two connections there. Tactical
Okay.
genius. I had a feeling Zoe might get themselves in trouble with another driver.
Yeah,
I'm also
okay.
gonna push myself too.
So you are at desperate standard with your transmitter. So that's before any of the benefits from assist or pushing yourself. So where do you want to put your benefits?
Controlled great if I could. Risky great, I guess, not control. But
Yeah, you can get to risky great.
and also I'd get an extra die too because I get 2 right from.
Yeah, 2 benefits.
Well, hold on. So you're desperate standard, and then you get 1 benefit from pushing yourself. Is that going to dice or effect?
Wait, no, I'm confused.
If you're
I
pushing
thought
your.
that what was I starting at? It was like risky or desperate standard, right?
You're at desperate standard, yeah.
So I'd like to push myself to add dice, and then I get 2 effects from CJ, right? And that can I make that great with those 2 effects?
Paloma.
Yeah.
From Paloma, but yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, so those 2 can bring you to desperate great, and then you've got 2 consort dice, and then you're pushing yourself for an additional 1, so that'll be 3 dice, desperate great. Right, okay.
Hey, go.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
So what do you say over the radio?
Hear me?
No. We did not get any of that.
Hilarious. So I'm really sorry about the potato prank. It wouldn't really have hurt your car. You know, that's just an urban legend. They just kind of pop out. But it was a real bad move on my part. And I just want to say I'm sorry. And I just like, just have a truce from now out.
All right. So you like Tommy doesn't have a way of, like she might be saying something to her car radio, but like she doesn't have a transmitter to get to you. So just through her back windshield, you can just see her hold up her hand and give you a thumbs up.
Awesome. For a minute, I thought you were going to say a middle finger.
No, you got a success. So you are now in a risky, and where you want to put 2 ticks?
I'm going to put them into I get great, then I push it up to great.
Yeah, okay. So you can stay at desperate then, I guess.
Okay, so does it cost 2 to go up?
It costs 1 to go to risky.
2 effect from Paloma.
Yeah, you're at great, which will be 3 pieces of effect. You can spend 1 of those to go to risky, or you can spend all 3 on advance.
To advance.
All advance. Okay, so you are now also in the lead, desperately driving.
Well, howdy.
So, Behemoth, Zoe has just joined you in the lead alongside Tom. I guess Tommy doesn't need to give you the thumbs up in the rear view, but instead out of the passenger side. So, Behemoth, what do you want to do now that you're up here with the leaders?
Oof. What is our buddy in red up to?
So that's Torin Gaines. They are driving with sheer focus as they are a professional driver. They are keeping it clean. They are swerving in between the civilian cars that are ahead of you in their Enterax Roadster.
Intriguing. I think I'm sort of here. I'm like, well, got an ally here at the front now. Could maybe start some stuff that's a little bit more dangerous. So, yeah, I think this is I'm gonna declare a piece of equipment, which is a flamethrower.
Yeah, of course.
Amazing.
And in order to do this, I unplug the transponder that I used to help earlier, getting rid of my scan point. And yeah, I'm just here to fuck shit up, basically.
Yeah, okay. So what are you spraying down with napalm?
I think this is I'm sort of going. This is sort of an intimidation tactic, partially actually trying to just sort of like melt a bit of this sort of, I assume, sort of very like precision engineered speedster. And I was just like, well, if I just melt a bit of it, it'll probably won't work as well, will it?
Yeah, there's probably a good bit of plastic in that Roadster.
Yeah.
Okay, and what do you want to roll for this?
I've currently got 2 in both destroy and bombard. I guess it's probably fairly close. So perhaps there's more.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Maybe if you were in the pack or behind, bombard would make more sense. You can still roll it, of course, but that might be reduced effect. And destroy will be pretty liberal use of this flamethrower.
And there are other cards about. Maybe I do have 1 in battle. So I'll just sort of look at the fact that my ally is here and I'm like, I'll be nice.
maybe
Well,
maybe I should have used the flamethrower sooner before Zoe might get hit by it.
So yeah, and I do just have the 1 in battle. So.
Well, Zoe can help you now that you're no longer alone in the lead. And you can push yourself, of course.
Yeah. Where am I starting? Desperate.
Desperate standard, let's say. Got a flamethrower.
Oh.
What are you trying to flamethrow again?
The professional racer whose name I can never remember. I'm just trying to.
Gaines.
That's the one.
Okay, awesome. I was just making sure it wasn't the person I just made a truce with.
Bruce, fire.
Yeah, I'll help you. I don't. I think maybe it would just be trying to block them off towards you or something.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
Okay,
A
so
really cool like side thing. Movies.
all right, how many benefits is that?
Be one benefit.
Okay, so you said you're rolling battle, right, Behemoth?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and are you gonna push yourself?
Yeah. Which ones can I think I'm going to use my ear-splitting horn quirk for this. If only to sort of add to the sort of intimidation factor of like, I'm going to get ya.
Yep. Okay, so so desperate standard. How do you want to use your 2 benefits?
I'm going to have one for dice and then one for effect.
Okay, so desperate great with 2 dice.
Action. Battle. Desperate. Great. 2 dice.
That's a 6.
Oh my god. Best
Behemoth
I've ever rolled in any
can't
game.
lose. All right, where do you want to put your 3 ticks?
I'm going to put 2 in the fullback clock for name. It's past midnight here.
Yep,
Remembering names.
for the pro. Yep.
And then let's just put one in the finishing thing, as this is me just.
Don't worry
Still
about the finish line clock, because we're gonna run out of time before that fills. So do you want to put that in your own advance, or do you want to put it all in fallback?
Let's put it all in fullback.
All in fallback. Okay, yeah. Torn Gaines in the Enterax Roadster, the other electric vehicle in this race, loses a bunch of ground as their car begins to melt around them to some degree, along with the road.
There's just some cackling in the background.
This older British woman in a Hummer cackling as it shoots flames.
Oh, interesting.
Speaking of electric vehicles, what's Trust Fund up to?
You know what's a shame is about electric vehicles? Or I guess it's a shame or it's a benefit, depending on who you are, is that they're hard to notice. I would like to follow up what Behemoth started, and with a lot of gusto, I'm gonna fishtail, or I'm gonna cause, or attempt to cause this pro racer to fishtail out by slamming the back of the side back of their car with the front side of mine. Because they're already not having a good time. They're not paying attention. And I have a large electric vehicle that does not make much noise.
Okay.
In fact, I will be pushing myself. For sure. I will, because I will want to be watching the kid and using that connection to the person of action. So that's gonna be, I am gonna be like, for the all sense of like the role, it would be battle otherwise, but I will be taking my connection for an extra die.
Yeah.
Or like what would be an extra die? If it was something else, it'd be 2. It would be sweet. But no, I'm pushing myself. And the quirk that I'm using is very fittingly the sound of silence. Hopefully sending Torian Gaines into darkness.
Yeah, okay.
I will ask for Devil's Bargain, please.
All right. So, let's see. Just so you know, you are at risky standard as it stands, since
Mhm.
your vehicle outweighs the roadster as you ram it. And the devil's bargain is that I will add hmm. I will add 1 tick to Tommy Doretto's advance clock. And as a note, if there are multiple people in the lead position when the race ends, there will be one final roll off, and then after that, whoever has the most ticks in their advance clock wins. So I will put 1 tick in Tommy Doretto's advance clock.
You know what? That's a silly. That seems like a future problem once again. So yeah.
Okay, so Tommy Doretto taking advantage of the fact that she is now the fastest car in the leaders, or, well, currently is, may soon to be the only fast car in the leaders, depending upon how Trust Fund's plan goes. So, Trust Fund, risky standard, plus your benefits.
Okay. So I start at 2 dice, and then I'll push myself just to get that 3rd die is what I'm going for. But I do. Let's see here. If I spend a gear, that means I could potentially make it increase, right?
Great. Yeah.
Like I'm thinking as a melee weapon being reinforced, like specifically that side of the vehicle is reinforced with heavier metal.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So that'll bring you up to great.
Cool. So yeah, so action, battle, risky, great, rolling 3 dice.
That is a 6. Y'all got some hot dice for the most part, or at least hot enough.
God damn.
All right.
Okay, so where do you want to put your 3 ticks? I'm guessing at least one of those is going
Yes.
into the fallback clock.
Yep, one of them will go into fallback for the person I hit. And then yeah, at this point I guess 2 advancement for myself.
Okay. So, like I said, so you ram the red Enterax Roadster, and it loses traction and like starts to go sideways, but Gaines is a professional, as established, and manages to regain control while they shake their fist at you for your dirty driving. I don't think they saw the lightning storm you made earlier. And in the meantime, Tommy Doretto takes advantage of being the fastest in the lead to power ahead and just nudge a bit ahead of Zoe and Behemoth. Paloma, you've got the last shot before we reach the end of the race, because our time for this segment is running out and we want to wrap up proper like. So, what are you going to do? Arp, you there?
You are muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. Had the dog barking. So, in the lead, we have 2 of ours and 1 of not ours, but Zoe made a little truce there, as we recall. So, I think my goal here needs to be to make sure that Barb or Zoe get across that finish line uncontested, right? That's got to be the goal. So, loath as I am to have bad relations with Tommy Doretto, I don't know if there's much choice but to try and slow them down once again. Yes.
Might I suggest that there was a tactic that we've used that has worked with Tommy before, and that is communication.
Communication.
Perhaps.
There's got to be a way
The
to communicate
family.
with them. Yeah, no, I mean, I have ways of communicating for sure. I just got to make sure that I'm doing so in an effective way. Can I do a flashback here? A quick one, I think, to meeting with Tommy Doretto's family after doing the research back when I got the roster and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
To not necessarily like make a deal with them, but to get a feel for what kind of person Tommy is outside of the reputation for being an illegal street racer, and the best there is and all that stuff. I think Paloma wants to know, like, how does Tommy feel about what's the thing I'm looking for? Interax and their deal and oh my goodness, what's the name of the person that they are going to be? Wilhelm Fesk. Like to figure out how Tommy and Tommy's crew feel about Wilhelm Fesk and Interax and these plans that they have.
Okay, yeah, that's a reasonable flashback. That'll be one stress to do the flashback.
Okay.
And so you meet up with her and her family somewhere. Maybe they're having a barbecue behind their house.
Yeah,
And,
I think. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's the case you make?
Yeah, I think Paloma like pulls up in front of the house and like gets out of the car and is dusting off their trench coat and all that and like adjusting their sleeves. And they look up and see all of these people staring at them and with clear hostility as they're in the middle of their family meal. And Paloma kind of wanders up and says, I've heard a lot about you, and I've hear you're going to be taking part in this race in the next couple of days, and I feel like you're the kind of person I can trust with a bit of extra information that might be useful for you. Do you think it's possible that I could join you for dinner? And like, we don't have to play a full conversation or anything. I know we're short on time, but maybe that can be the lead into a consort role.
Yeah, that tracks.
Okay, so what would be my position effect stuff?
I think the risky does like you're risky now, but I think that this maneuver is kind of risky, showing up at like this person's house with their family meal to try and talk to them about something that they might like get heated about.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is probably risky standard.
Okay. I am going to push myself here. And let's see, push yourself. That's a bonus die for that, right?
Or increased effect.
Right. And I'm at risky, and you said it was standard effect here?
Yep, risky standard.
Okay. Actually, I'll increase my effect to great here. Is there a collateral die I could ask for in this situation?
Hmm. Hmm. Um. Hmm. Let's see, a collateral die. Uh. I can't think of anything that would be interesting for where we are.
Okay.
But I'm open to suggestions if anyone has any. And do you want to declare any gear?
I was going to say a different tactic. Maybe I could bring a fine gift with me.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
in my pilot gear, and maybe that's something I could use to increase my effects, and then use the push for a die instead.
Mm.
That's a good idea. May I make a suggestion for your fine gift?
Absolutely.
A case of Corona.
Had the same thing in mind.
Would you want some help?
If there's a way that this can work out, yeah.
So, okay. Just thinking because my guy's rich, right? And since we've done this before, where we've kind of like used it at a gift, some sort of like a pilot gear thing, and I just have 3 spaces ready to be declared right away, and inside the case of Corona is a bribe. There is money not in the banana stand, but in the case of Corona.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
happy to accept that if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
That is a 1. Yeah, we have a 1 connection. So
yeah, so that'll be. Can I?
You're at risky great because of your gear before pushing or assists.
Right. So not risky great, and I'm pushing myself for 1 die. With the assist, can I take an additional die from that?
Yep.
Okay, I'll do that then. So I'll be rolling 3 dice on consort with a risky great. So let me just do that. There's a 5 in there.
Oof. That's close. Okay. So what is your pitch here?
I think essentially my pitch is if Tommy can help ensure that one of us wins the race, then we can get her and her crew access to, we will also make sure that we have them get access to Wilhelm, in addition to offering support in whatever actions that they wish to take to deal with Wilhelm or Entrax. Like, I'm assuming that they are not fans of each other. Like, that's the thing that I want Paloma to find out. Like, is there a way that we can work together on this? Because Paloma does not care for Entrax or Vesk, and would be perfectly happy for all of them to be burned in a big fire.
Okay.
So
what comes out during like your conversation here is that basically Tommy won't throw a race, refuses to throw a race, but wants to know why you need to win so badly.
All right.
Just so you know, this is a success. I'm not going to like throw that up.
I think Paloma is. I mean, Paloma's about this life, but this is mostly to finance Paloma's other ventures, which are much more important to Paloma. And I think Paloma is willing to like share a lot of what's going on with this, like who's involved and what their goals are and how they might like dovetail together. Like, Paloma's trying to do a little bit of coalition building here, I think. So just like saying, here's the deal. Like, we got this job. We're working for the Green Guardians. They've got these issues with the factory. I think we can maybe push things a little bit farther if we are willing to grab those risks and forge some bonds together under fire.
Okay. So here's what Tommy offers. All right. She refuses to let anyone win the race.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone else wins the race other than her, that's fine by her. She isn't going to hold it against them unless they do something like, try and put potatoes in her car. But if she does win the race, she is willing to make the handoff of the hard drive to Fesk on your behalf.
Okay. That seems fair. Okay.
Also, whoever wins, you got to give her half of the winnings as payment for services rendered.
I think Paloma is able to make that like promise certainly for himself, but it has to be like, I got to talk to the people involved here, but I can get you, like, if it's not me who gets it, and if the person on my team won't pony up, then I can get you the equivalent, like on my honor kind of thing. I'll make sure you get it.
He shakes your hand and pulls you in for a hug. And is Trust Fund there at this moment, or did Trust Fund just like dump a bucket of cash into the beer case before Paloma showed up here?
I think it was I think Trust Fund was the one who bought the quote unquote bought the Corona. So yeah, it's a nice surprise, because if it was planned out fully, that wouldn't be playing to the rookie playbook now, would it?
Yeah. Okay. So is Trust Fund there?
No.
Okay. All right. So Paloma is welcomed to dinner with the family as Tommy goes, as the two of you go over the details and share some of your war stories, your various run-ins with the cops, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
You've both done time. Yeah. Okay. So the consequence for that is that you're gonna have to give up the reward if someone other than Tommy wins.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's what they promised.
Yeah. And so I think with that we can go right to the checker line, the finish line roll for this. So when you hit the finish line, if there's more than one driver currently in the lead, then all the PCs get to make one last roll of their choice. And whoever has the most advance ticks after that singular roll, they are the winner. So, Behemoth and Zoe, what do each of you want to roll for this last desperate stretch from Toledo to Detroit? Behemoth, what are you thinking?
I'm deciding between whether this is, getting into the fun of the race and, Tommy's a very fun person to race against, or sticking with what she knows best and going with the destroy. I don't know. What are you thinking, C? Chris?
I was thinking, do we make it just as like a flat roll, or do we kind of like use our gear and push like normal?
It's a normal roll. It's one last action roll. You can use gear, you
Okay.
can use quirks, you can use assists.
What's the name of the factory again?
Enterax is the company.
Because I was going to use, I have a, what do you call it? My cause, I guess. I was going to have it, or a large symbol of your cause as part of my vehicle gear. And what it was going to be is a, out of the trunk of the car, it's like giant, large, inflatable rats that Union strike. This is a thing in the United States. I don't know if it's in other places. It also is carrying a flag. It's like down with the Detroit Enterax factory in like flag that's very like ego whatever. Like hope that I can convince Midwest speed by them on the highway.
Yeah, okay. And so what do you want to roll for that? See, you're not coming through if you're talking.
Can we? Can these rolls have assistance, or are they just?
Yep,
flat?
they can have assists.
Okay.
You can only assist one or the other, I think, though.
Okay.
I kind of a mix between maneuver and consort, I feel like, but I have two in both. So
well, if you're trying to leverage pro-union sentiment, I think consort is the more appropriate role.
then yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Also push myself.
Okay, I think this will be risky
One of my
standard with your
abilities.
gear.
One of my abilities is when I push myself in addition to my normal benefits, I can do one of the following: speak with the weight of all you represent, or have civilians come to your aid. And I think maybe civilians come to my aid, just like helping me get through.
Yeah, okay. So I guess civilian cars are like getting out of the way or like coming into the streets, cheering you on, causing trouble for Behemoth and Tommy.
Can I provide an assist on this if you'd like?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll push myself on this, and I think part of the distraction for the other drivers who are in the lead or coming up towards the lead to continue to create, chaos is that there's there's like a trailer, just the trailer of a truck that's parked behind like a billboard saying, welcome to Detroit. And the back of it opens up when the sensor goes off to say that Zoe's car has gone by. And out from it just pours a swarm of really angry geese who've been kept up in there for a while. And they're just swarming onto the road, flapping everywhere, providing like an additional distraction for the other drivers to try and open up the area and give Zoe a clear run up towards the end, along with the help of the people who are like within the city, spreading out and creating that kind of support as well.
Okay. All right. So take those benefits. I believe that's 2 for you, Zoe. And you're at risky standard before benefits, so make your roll.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do dice and increasing effect if I can do that.
Yeah, so risky great with your dice. Oh, 3, 3, 3. No success, all consequence.
Good roll for Yahtzee, though.
So, yeah, I think what happens here is I'm going to elide the details, but calling people into the streets during an illegal race involving a Hummer, a Dodge Challenger, and a Crown Vic, along with a whole bunch of geese, does not go well, and so Zoe is going to take the level 3 harm Despondent for what he is responsible for.
I resist that.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't resist the despondent. I want to resist the consequences of the danger I've caused.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that is resolve. You got to make a resolve resist as you try and indicate in your passing to be careful.
Okay, I'll try my best.
Please don't stand on the road.
That's a 3. So you take 3 stress, which is enough for you to get a scar.
Oh, beautiful. Congratulations. You might not have won the race, but you did win the session by speed running.
One beam saber.
Yep.
Okay, so think about what scar you want to take as you narrowly avert these chaos. I think you still take the level 1 harm of anxious. Behemoth, how are you going to finish this race off?
So, amongst all this chaos, like, the Dodge Challenger is just naturally just a lot faster than my super heavy thing, which is why I decided to start unplugging everything. Declaring the NOS canister. Not NOS canister, that's something else.
I mean, you can also declare the NOS canister.
Oh, it's just for fun on the side. A NOS tank is the name for it. Unplug the flamethrower out of battle. And be like, oop, that's the fuel for this. Plug that into the engine. Let's go. And I'm just going to try and Rainbow Road this. Just try and like a sort of ramp situation.
Yes.
Just to sort of skip over a couple of like streets to sort of get me the right way. Which I'll maneuver, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that tracks. You're ramping off of something to try and skip a block.
Would you like help?
I would love help.
Okay, actually, this is pretty good. Ties back to what happened earlier, where we were in communication, and I think because you were like, "Oh, I need to lose pretty much everything I have to, turn off stuff to just power everything on." I know, like, Trust Fund knows he's not going to. And so he turns back to, autopilot mode, car and autopilot, and is doing everything with the tech that he has to radio basically in the best spot to make the jump, right? It's to give you back the navigation that you probably had to lose to get as much speed and power to hit that jump.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you are at Desperate Standard, using your NOS canister that brings you up to Great.
I have my 3 dice. I'm going to take a 4th dice. Let's do this.
That's what was missing for Zoe, a fourth die.
Careful.
This is yet another desperate great roll for Behemoth, which is just very much her vibe, isn't it? Well,
You got that 5, but it was a close one.
Jeez.
Okay, so the desperate consequence I'm inflicting is that the jump is bigger than you would have liked. And so you're going to take level 3 damage, ruined suspension, as your massive vehicle slams onto the road and is no longer sitting level afterwards. But you make it. I'm guessing you want to put all 3 of those ticks into your advance clock?
I would love to.
Okay. So yeah, you skip over a block and manage to land just in front of the finish line. And so you cross the finish line, and Behemoth in the massive win in Rome, the custom Hummer, is the winner of this race from Reno to Detroit. And because we are extremely short on time, we are going to skip the details of the handover. But Wilhelm Fesk, they do get that external hard drive with the information about Enterax planning to screw them over. So you have succeeded, but you will have to hand over half of your winnings to Tommy Doretto. Regardless, as a reminder, the reason we are here and doing this race, this illegal race, is because we are raising money for Black and Pink, which is a national prison abolitionist organization dedicated to abolishing the criminal punishment system and liberating LGBTQIA2S people and people living with HIV/AIDS who are affected by that system through advocacy, support, and organizing. If you go to the donating link in chat or go to pinkandblack.org, you can donate to the organization. So, rolling quickly, I am Austin Ramsay. I am the creator of Beam Saber and Rush Wars. You can find me on Twitter at NotAnIn and my games at austin-ramsay.itch.io. ARP, go.
Hey, I'm Arp. You can find me on Twitter at Broken Sun RPG. I'm the facilitator of Friendly Guide of the Stories of a Broken Sun podcast. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Great. Vivien, go.
Hello, I'm Vivien. Games genderfage.itch.io. Twitter ocean1212_W. Go Black and Pink. Fuck prison.
Wonderful. Fool, go.
Hey, Full Ink here. You can find me on Twitter at Full Ink. Don't really have anything to plug, so buy all the stuff from everybody who's played so far, include this game and the previous, and then the ones that come for the rest of the weekend.
Wonderful. Thank you. C, go.
Thank you everybody. I'm on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter, but it's MR Shouty, Mr. Shouty, and then I actually made a playbook for Beam Saber. So if you like Beam Saber, and you want to donate to Black and Pink, I'll give you a copy of my playbook if you donate. Thanks.
Wonderful. All right. That is it for us and Beam Saber Rush Wars. Remember to donate to Black and Pink if you have not. But stick around because coming up next is Armor Astur Advent. Another really great game, and there are more to come after that. So, from Detroit, Michigan, after a long-ass drive, we are saying goodbye and good night and good luck.